Hello there, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. It is Super Bowl week. I don't know how, I don't know when this happened, but it is Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
Katie, I am repping tonight a very vintage, old school Super Bowl shirt. It is
Okay.
the Giants and the Bills from 1991. And
That's a good one.
Katie, do you know when they played the Super Bowl in 1991? The date?
Oh, the date. I guess because you're saying it like that, maybe it was in January.
January 27th.
Okay, I have
How
a feeling you were going to say something like that.
back in the day. And it's interesting too, like, because obviously the Giants had two obviously big Super Bowls in our lifetime in
Yeah.
27 and 2012. I get the flashbacks like through like my Facebook memories of us going crazy. It was like a week ago, like 2 weeks, like every year. I
Yeah.
just feel like they keep pushing it and pushing it.
Well,
So
obviously we have the extra regular season game now, that
right.
17th game. But yeah, I mean, my brother's birthday is January 26th. And when he was little, there were many years that my mom just threw him a Super Bowl birthday party and would invite his friends over and they would just watch the Super Bowl at the house. And my mom would have cake and food and snacks and all that. So yeah, we do keep pushing it back and back.
We
So
do. Yeah. And I love that. So my grandma, huge New York Giants fan, when her birthday was January 27th, I'm pretty sure. But every year my family always does a Super Bowl party, but it stemmed from her birthday. So
yeah.
that's where like the history of my family having Super Bowl parties. So apparently I've heard stories from this one. I don't think the Giants. Did they win? They won
They
this one.
won,
Yes, they
yes.
won. Yes. I was like, did
Quite
they
right.
win? But
Quite
yeah.
right.
I know, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I've heard stories from that this was just like absolutely batshit at my parents' house. Like
Yeah.
there was champagne bottles popping. I was not alive yet, so I wish I was. I came out a couple months later, so
Yes.
I'm so upset that I wasn't alive to witness. But yes, I've heard the glory days of the New York Giants on January 27th, 1991. But had to rep it out for Super Bowl weekend. Again, I cannot believe we are here, but this is our Super Bowl episode for you guys. We've got a lot to unpack here. So let's go ahead and get into it. To start tonight's episode, we went ahead and polled you guys like we love to do every single week. So we asked you 3 different questions. Let's go ahead and get into them. So the ultimate, it's on everyone's mind right now. We asked you guys on Instagram and Twitter, who do you think will win this weekend's Super Bowl? We got Philly or Kansas City. 55% of you went with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Katie and I are going to give you our picks a little bit later, and then we're actually going to dive into an analysis a little bit more. So we're not going to tell you now, but 55%. So that's
It's close. And I'm not surprised.
I'm not either.
Across the board and, other news outlets and people predicting scores and everything like that. It seems like America is really split on this one. So hopefully, well, I would like to see a blowout, but it seems like a lot of people think this is going to be a real close one.
Right. And again, it's whether you're an American looking for your team win or you're an American like Katie and I just looking for a Kansas City. I know there are definitely people on both sides here. So again, I'm with you on that one. I'm not surprised it's at that 50% right there.
Yeah.
All right. So we still got some head coaching positions open, and Katie's actually going to give you an update after this on the coaching tracker. But if you were a head coaching candidate right now, which head coach job would you rather land? The Indianapolis Colts or the Arizona Cardinals? Mm-hmm. All right. So this has happened, I think, a total of 4 times now at this point in the 5+ years that we've been doing this. Yeah. I think it has happened 4 times. We had another 50-50 split. So half of you guys said Indianapolis, half of you said the Cardinals. Katie, how did you vote on this one?
I'm going with the Colts. And I think this is a really tough one because I look at Indy, right? And I think it's very difficult for any coach, especially a first-time head coach, to go in, with an organization that does not have their set franchise quarterback and kind of has like this massive looming question mark at that position. However, I do like the Indianapolis roster as a whole, minus that glaring top position. Whereas
Right.
Arizona is different. They've got Kyler Murray, they've got their franchise quarterback, but I have always kind of said, like, I'm not a huge Kyler Murray fan. I think that's obviously a really difficult division to play in. I think once Indy gets their quarterback, like, that's a division that they can go out and potentially win next year. I'm going with the Colts on this.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, sorry, big echo there. I am too, honestly. And so we're on that 150% side here. But, Katie, you say like glaring top position there. I would say that is a problem in Arizona too. They might say Kyler is their franchise, but I'm with you on that one that I don't really have a lot of trust in him. I don't like him as an NFL quarterback. And it just, for me, if every other quarterback entering in lately can get so much shit from everyone around them, like, where is it coming for Kyler Murray? I feel like we're not seeing much of it, but I'm not seeing it much pan out, to be honest, at this time. So that's pretty glaring to me, their quarterback position as well. So I think they're both up in the air for sure, but I think we've seen more promise out of the Indianapolis Colts. And for me as a coach, I feel like I would want to step in there and create some excitement, create, a lot of strength around the talent that's already there, and then build upon the areas that you need to kind of, push up to the next level. I would take that challenge. I don't necessarily know if I'd want some of the challenges that are in Arizona right now.
Yeah. And at least maybe like with that question mark at quarterback, you as a head coach can go in there and either draft or bring in a free agent that you personally,
it could be your decision,
that you help make that decision and be like, that's the type of player I can coach. That's the kind of player I think is going to be successful with our program, rather than you've already got Kyler set in place. And whether you like him or not, this is who you're working with.
Right. And I think that's very attractive to like any type of management that's coming in, whether it's a coach, a general manager, other types of coordinators, things like that. If you can come in and kind of create your own with the experience that you have, that's huge. So I think it's a little bit a one-upper there for them.
Okay.
Alrighty, and final question on the theme of the Real Housewives of New Jersey premiering last night on Bravo, and what a premiere for sure. Do you think the Gorgas are becoming the villains of the Real Housewives of New Jersey? A whopping 86% of you said yes. Katie, I know we disagreed on this one, but what did you say?
I said no. And I got to tell you, I was very close to saying yes, because I just feel as though that's the narrative that's building. And granted, we've only had one episode and nothing happened in the premiere last night that necessarily made me think that they're trying to push them towards the villains. It's more so like what happened in like the off season of like all the articles that have been coming out about them lately. However, last minute changed my mind. I watched Watch What Happens Live after the season, after episode 1 of this season premiered last night. Dolores was on it. They did poll the people, so their poll voters were definitely different than ours. But there was a poll that said, "Whose side are you on, the Gorgas or Teresa?" And 76% of the people said Team Gorga. So it makes me feel like America isn't there yet with considering them villains. We'll see where it goes as the season progresses.
Quick side note here. Now that you told me that you watched What Happens Live, did Andy sound weird to you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I have to show you the clip of him opening the show. Katie, I rewatched it 3 times earlier. It's like, I don't know what it is.
Opening.
Like, I thought I was having a stroke, to be honest.
I thought Dolores looked different. There was something really different looking about Dolores.
Andy sounded very weird to me. So that's, regardless, I will send it to you after and ask you to watch it again. So I'm glad that you watched it, though, because I wanted to get your 2 cents on that. But so I understand that for sure. Where I'm kind of shifting for them. So I said they are turning into the villains. Here's where I'm at with them. obviously it's the two of them together, and I feel like they are ganging up on, like, as much as Teresa has Louis and her family, I still feel like the target is Teresa. Like, it's always going to be her as a singular human being. The difference is, I think Teresa goes in and she fights for her family and for her now husband. She doesn't try to pull people in to, like, be on her side. I think Melissa and Joe go out and they recruit people, like they are like these popular, like, people that are mean, and they're like, you need to be our pack and behind us, and like, we're gonna go out and like rule the world. Like, that's the sense I've been getting from them from the last 2 seasons. And I personally think last night kind of proved that. So it's like they're going out and they're hunting people to be on their side. And that's, like Teresa doesn't need anyone to be on her side for her to go be a bitch and be like, I'm going to take you down. She could do it by herself. They are very insecure, and I think they need other people. And that's where I'm getting that. And it's very villain-esque in my opinion.
Okay.
So,
all right.
That's what I'm seeing. So yes, those were our polls. As always, thank you guys for engaging with us. We've got great content, obviously, to do with the Super Bowl tonight and some other things here. So please, please, please go ahead and comment on anything that we're on. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitter. Please tweet at us. You're on YouTube, you're on Facebook. Ask us questions. Give us your thoughts on things too. And we love to engage with you live throughout the episode. So I already see our viewer counts going up on Facebook, YouTube, and now the Twitter. So keep it coming, people.
It's a hot episode tonight, so you definitely want to stick around. But let's get into our first big story of the week in the world of football. And as Caitlin mentioned, I am going to go over the latest NFL coaching tracker news. We have new hirings. Carolina hired former Denver defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero to be their new DC. Dallas hired veteran coach Brian Schottenheimer as their new offensive coordinator. Minnesota hired former Miami head coach Brian Flores as their new defensive coordinator. I know Brian Flores definitely took a bunch of head coaching interviews, but ends up staying as a defensive coordinator. New Orleans is expected to hire former Cleveland defensive coordinator Joe Woods as their new DC. And then the latest we have Steve Wilkes, who was the interim Carolina head coach, is now going to be the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's a good fit there. And then, like we mentioned, we still have 2 head coaching vacancies. Arizona is still searching for a head coach, but they did, in fact, bring back 3 candidates for second interviews. Brian Flores was one of them. He is no longer available. And then we have New York Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka and Lou Anarumo. So apparently the latest I read was that Andy Reid went and vouched for Mike Kafka and said how amazing he would be as a head coach. And apparently now people think he's going to get it. And I don't know. I think, I Giants fans, we don't want to lose him. I think this is a little premature. I think there are a lot of other names out there that should be considered. I think he did a phenomenal job this past season with Daniel Jones and the Giants offense, but I just don't think it's his time yet to be thrown into a head coaching position. I think he, at the very least, needs another season with the Giants, a successful season with the Giants, in order to, should get more serious looks. But it could happen right now. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that for sure. And I think something that's interesting, and I'm obviously not an NFL coach. I'm not on the sideline. I'm not there with them every single day. I think the attractiveness is that, obviously everything he was able to do with Daniel Jones and this offense that was like a stitched together random offense this year. What I want to point out though, is that every game, guys, he's the play caller, but he's in the box. That's something that the Giants haven't done very much. And so when something's going on, when you have to penalize your players, when you have to discipline them, that's coming from Brian Daboll. So I agree with you that he's going to need another year under his belt with the Giants, because he did a lot of great things, but where's the true relationship? Is it with Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll, or with him and Mike Kafka? I get both of them, and he's a great offensive mastermind, but he's calling plays from the box. when someone screws up, doesn't make a catch, when someone doesn't run the play correctly, when Daniel Jones needs to be reprimanded on the sideline, it's not him doing that. It's Brian Dable.
Right.
So he's got that offense intact, I think, from the sideline. Kafka's got it up in the booth. So I think there's a little bit of a dynamic there that people need to understand, because now he's your head coach and he is on the sideline. How much experience does he have in that aspect? So I agree. And I'm not saying take him out of the booth. I actually, again, I know that's not the Giants always their go-to. I actually liked it this year. So I agree. Stay because we like you, and stay too just because we're football fans and we're trying to look out for you. Maybe you need another year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then reports this past week claim that there is a real chance that Indy actually sticks with interim head coach Jeff Saturday as their full-time head coach. But, there are several names still swirling around that opening. Wink Martindale, our defensive coordinator, is one of them.
Enough.
But I've seen like 5 or 6 names swirling around. They've brought in like about 5 or 6 guys for second interviews. So I don't know if they've really narrowed it down as much as Arizona has. But that is the latest in the coaching world.
Yeah, I don't know. I would really hate for them to bring Jeff Saturday back as a head coach. There are so many people, like you said, Katie, that haven't even been mentioned in certain conversations that are much deserving of even just being spoken to, in my opinion. I don't know. But it's also February. I understand that after the Super Bowl, things kick up and this offseason is huge for people. They need to get someone in and get someone in charge, but it's not like I remember when the Giants hired Joe Judge, that offseason for coaches was like every 5 seconds, someone was picking someone up. And you didn't know, we woke up every morning being like, are the Giants going to do something? Like, I'm sweating, like people are getting taken off the board. It is not like that right now. I think teams are actually truly taking the time, and that's great. And we're not seeing people pull the trigger. Obviously, with the Broncos and Sean Payton, yes, if you're going to land someone like Sean Payton, go after it and take it real quick. But I think everyone else, whether it's a coordinator position or that head coach, that we are seeing some time being taken for sure. And I think that's how it should be. So if you're the Colts, pump the brakes.
I think the Colts can sit back and relax right now, because I think the 2 guys that Arizona are looking at, I feel like the Colts aren't really that interested in them. And this was an off season where I think this is the least amount of head coaching openings that we've seen in a couple seasons now. So maybe there hasn't been as much of a mad dash to go and do it. And so these 2 teams can kind of sit with it and take their time now, I would think. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep. All right. Well, we're mid-episode, but we're going to do a big part of our episode is right now. Katie and I are going to give you our Super Bowl pick. It's not picks. It's one singular
one
pick.
Itty bitty pick. One very big bitty pick
for this Sunday. So for the last however weeks, we've been giving you multiple picks. Yeah. We've been giving you locks. We've been giving you upsets. Moving into the playoffs, giving you score predictions. Right now, we are giving you that team. We are giving you who we feel will win the Super Bowl this weekend. But do not go anywhere, because in a little bit, we are going to pick this game apart piece by piece and tell you our real thoughts behind it and the real analysis. But when it comes to just the ultimate winner, this year's Super Bowl champion, Katie, who are you going with? This is I feel like we're on a game show.
This is the $1 million question.
What is your final answer? Who wants to be a millionaire? Is that your final answer? $1 million is on the line.
This is going to be a close game, and I'm with the people. Like I said, I'm not surprised that our poll results were so close. I'm not surprised that the media is so split on this. My gut is telling me that I'm going to be a very disappointed lady this year, and I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, let's make that 2 disappointed ladies, because I know. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. And I call it a gut feeling. And I know we were talking before the show too, and you were bringing up gut feeling and stat. And I got to tell you, I think at the end of the day, my gut and my statistical mind is actually going towards them. And it's something I couldn't fight anymore. And I did one of those things where it's like, you know what? Like, just don't. And I've been actually thinking it for like a couple of weeks now, and it's really bad. And it's just like, you know what? I couldn't. It sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I really thought that, like, maybe, even though I picked Philly to beat San Fran, I really thought that maybe San Fran could give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
Obviously, the quarterback situation that happened in that game, like, just didn't even give them a fighting chance.
Yeah.
But it just continued to build this really strong momentum for Philly, obviously off of that Giants win too. They're just playing really good football right now, and it's scary, and it's just giving me the bad gut feeling that this is how it ends. So
yeah, it's definitely a bad gut feeling. And I think it's this thought in my mind these last couple of weeks were just, if they make it to the Super Bowl, because I picked the Niners, you know, I had high hopes for the Giants to shock the world and come around anywhere. It was just, if they actually make it to this point, it's not going to be good. And here we are. And I must say, I know we're going to dive into it earlier. When I looked back on it, I think the Chiefs are a phenomenal team. They're very talented. I think, and we've seen it, Patrick Mahomes pulls some Houdini shit all the time. And they don't have the biggest names on their the roster. They're doing things with some other guy, and they think the talent is there, but it's not standouts like you look at the Eagles and you see some of the guys, their offensive weapons. And it's just, I think that what the Eagles have shown us this season is that they were just consistently a good, talented team. And it was realistic. They were realistically good. I look back to the Patriots when we played them in the Super Bowl and they went undefeated. To me, that was an unrealistic season, because then they came to us and they didn't achieve it, because I don't think that's possible. I think we've already said that to go undefeated is absolutely impossible in the NFL. And they didn't give that to us. The Eagles lost games, and they had pretty embarrassing games, but then they also just kind of showed what they were throughout the season too. So that's what kind of scares me the most, that they played realistically throughout the season, when Kansas City, they come back sometimes and you're just like, how on earth did they do that? Is that real? Like, I don't know. And with that too, I just don't know how sustainable it is for a team to act like that all the time. Like, I'm just gonna pull this flower out of this random area and be like, boom.
Eventually somebody's gonna get you.
Yeah, so that's kind of, I know we'll dive into actual moments of the game later, but that's just kind of that's been top of mind for me as well. So
I wasn't expecting you to say that. So we thought we were going to be split. I thought we were going to be like America.
I wanted to be. And if I go to bed that night and it's 50-0 Kansas City, I'm going to be like, girl, like, I'm going to wake up on Monday morning. I can wake up on Monday morning, no coffee, nothing, just happy as a clam going into the week. So that, come on, Kansas City, no coffee Monday morning. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Give me that adrenaline for all of next week.
All right, well, let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of housewives. I like both of these topics tonight. They're definitely fun to get into. Our first one has to do with Miss Mary Cosby. Reportedly returning to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So last Wednesday, several sources confirmed that Mary M. Cosby will be returning to Salt Lake City in a friend role. She has not been cast as a full-time housewife, but will film a few scenes for season 4, which is set to start on February 13th, the filming for it. So that's just in a couple of days. A source said Mary wanted to come back, but needed time to process Jenny Nigan's racist controversy that we all know happened, that we spoke about on this show. I do have a quote from the source. It says, Mary was dealing with a lot of trauma after season 2. Jenny's racist post really seemed to shake Mary, especially after Jenny threw a glass at her on camera. Mary was grateful for the time away from the cameras, but she seems ready to get back in the mix. I'm calling BS on this one, using the Jenny thing.
Isn't Mary racist too? Didn't she make those?
Well, I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like using what happened with Jenny is like a scapegoat excuse and a reason, because I feel like when Mary quit, she didn't go to the reunion because she knew she was going to get called out on all this shit that was happening in the media with her church and, you know, all the sketchy shit she was doing. And so she just up and left. And I'm like, okay, let's be real. That's why you freaking left, because you knew you were going to get like roasted and hounded and asked about all these things.
Right.
That's truly why I felt she left. So,
it's weird.
You know, a source said that she did, when Cosby left the show in February 2022, a source said she did not enjoy her time on the show or form any strong bonds with the ladies. That I believe is true. I feel like
don't come back.
I feel like when she was on season 1 and season 2, there were so many scenes that was just like Mary, like in her house, like talking to her husband or talking to her sons.
Herself.
It's actually a part of their like social scene. However, things have changed over the year, reportedly. So it's been teased that Mary will return to the group as Meredith Marks's friend, since she is currently the only cast member in communication with her. Meredith, Heather Gay, Lisa Barlow, and Whitney Rose will all return for season 4, even though we did hear rumors of a cast shakeup. I still think that will happen. We will get Mary back in a friend role, but that only leaves 4 women as our main cast members. So of course there has to be a shakeup, because we need at least like 1 or 2 ladies.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I agree with you. Like, that's definitely a BS excuse. And I had mentioned things not that anything Jenny did was okay in any way, shape, or form, but
she made the reason.
She made every comment under the world about Jenny being Asian, and she made fun of her. Like, she literally like did that thing with her eyes about her, and then she made a comment about her slanted eye and like made fun of her accent, and like that's not okay. Like you like, and like Mary, no offense, like I don't know, maybe it's not no offense. Bravo, I don't understand. She did the same bullshit. Like, why are you asking her back?
Yeah, well, you know what? I was about to say
she did the same thing.
You're right. And I was about to say that I'm not surprised at these straws that Bravo is just like grasping at, because like I said, like I have said on the show, like the last couple of episodes, that I'm concerned for the future of Salt Lake City. Love her or hate her, Jen Shaw was the source of all the main drama on that show. She's gone. She's going to prison. I don't feel this past season 3, I already feel like even with Jen there, some of these ladies were like reaching for drama. We're like pulling for storylines that just kind of, I don't know, like the Heather with the black eye thing made it so much more dramatic than I haven't finished yet, but seems like it's supposed to be. The fight with Heather and Whitney throughout the entire season, I don't know. It just seems forced. It doesn't seem like these are genuine conflicts. And as crazy as, it sounds, like we need conflicts. It's a story. It's a show. We need drama. So not surprised that they came knocking on Mary's door.
Yeah. I don't know. Ugh.
We're not excited about that. I know we've pulled you guys too and asked you what your thoughts were, and I don't think anybody's like too pumped about it.
Doesn't bring anything good to the table.
Yeah.
That is, I gotta tell you, that is like a top tier insult. When someone tells you like it's like, it's not even like you're talking mean about, you're just like, they just don't bring anything to the table. Like that is
like, as a real housewife, she did not.
But even like
the only thing that was ever good about Mary that Bravo thought was like, oh, this will be funny, is like the weird marriage that she has with like her stepfather or whatever. So I felt like that was like funny to introduce, but that was the only thing about her. There was like nothing else. So yeah, she didn't bring anything to the table. You're right.
I don't want it back, to be honest.
Nope.
It's not good. All right. Well, something that we do want back, and we got it back last night. The Real Housewives of New Jersey premiered on Bravo for season 13. And I must say, it delivered. I thought it was a first good episode.
No, I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I'm happy to have the ladies back. We've got some new ladies as well, and we meet everyone on the first episode, which is good. So, listen, I've got some thoughts, Katie. I know my thoughts are just in my head because I watched it like 2 hours ago. You wrote some stuff down, so let's dive into what you wrote down.
Yeah, and just piggyback off of anything you think that I've said here. This is going in sequence of me watching the episode with like 2 glasses of wine deep. So like
that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to do it.
I wrote what I wrote, people. It starts whatever. Might get weird. I don't know. So one of the first things I noted was we actually met a lot of people on last night's episode, and one of them, the first,
who are all these people?
We were actually introduced to Frank Catania's girlfriend Brittany for the very first time.
Yes.
We didn't see a ton of her, but we heard a little tiny bit about their backstory. Right. Frank Catania is 58 years old and Brittany is 33. So to put that into perspective for all of you guys, I am 33. That would be me with a 58-year-old man. I guarantee you Brittany's father is the same age as Frank Catania. Now I'm going to sit here and say if I was single and I had the opportunity to date Frank Catania, maybe I'd do it. So we love Frank.
So Katie, when they put that on the screen, the first thing I said out loud to myself on the couch, I was like, from Dumb and Dumber, I go, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, so big age difference between Frank and Brittany. But as we knew, and we heard them say, Dolores, was like, I love Brittany. I think so that's nice.
Right.
We have this roller skating party, this 80s roller skating party. I thought it was really cute, really fun.
Not good with drinking, though. I must say that. Awful idea. Awful.
We see, I noted that we see Tiki Barber and Tracy like skating in the background for literally a brief hot second. Yep. So I don't think we'll see much of them this season. And
it said friend of, so like it's
right. Like,
they're still
not to like be mean, but like Housewives world, they didn't bring anything to the table because they didn't bring any drama. They're just like normal people. Okay, we meet Danielle, who is one of like the new main ladies. If you can follow this, Danielle's stepmom was married to Caroline Manzo's brother. So Teresa says she's known Danielle for many, many years from that connection. Danielle is originally from Staten Island. And my note that I put down was she's too Jersey Shore for me. So what I mean by that is I'm going to really reference Jersey Shore from MTV.
Yes.
If you watch Jersey Shore now, like their family reunion, like Family Vacation, and then you go back and you actually watch like season 1 and 2 and 3 of the Jersey Shore, their voices are different. So when they were on Jersey Shore, when it first came out, it was like they were hyping up that like New York, New Jersey, Staten Island accent. They were really fully going into like the we're Italian thing. We're like the ideal Guido and Guidette, like that. They were really playing up those characters. I feel like that is Danielle. Like I feel like, yes, of course, like Teresa and Melissa and all of them, they're Jersey girls. Like you can't deny that.
Right.
I feel like Danielle is playing up this like ultra stereotypical, like almost like you would go on Instagram and find like funny reels or something of people making fun of New Jersey people. And Danielle would be the example, right?
Yeah. No, I get that. I thought it was so interesting when they showed up the pictures of her like in the past. Mm-hmm. Why does she look so familiar? I feel like she was on an episode of Jersey Shore. Kate, that was the first thing that came to me. Like they showed her pictures of when she was younger, and I was like, she looks so familiar. Not now. Like she does not look familiar now. Her younger pictures, I was like, why does she look? I like was like Googling her, like all this stuff. I was like, she looks so familiar. But I think it's just like what you said. It's that that vibe from that time frame when Jersey Shore came out. And like,
she's a stereotype. She feels familiar because she feels like a character that we've seen.
Right.
Before.
Yeah. And that's not, listen, I'm also a little ticked that she's a New Jersey housewife and she's originally from Staten Island.
I just, this is
you should be born and raised.
This is an early take. I don't think I'm going to like her.
I don't like all the new people. So I'm going to give you that hot take right away. That was my way to take it. I do not like any of the new people.
We do see Jackie and Evan, of course, at the roller skating party. We have a couple of small scenes with Jackie. They're later on in the episode when they do a calendar shoot. So I think, granted, I know all the guys still hang out. Yeah. I think we are truly going to see Jackie in a legitimate friend role and not like Tracy and Tiki where they're like barely in the background. Dolores and Jennifer, they are still beefing off of what happened at the reunion last season, which I just think is like silly and stupid, but they are the main fight and the main
drama bombs
and drama of episode 1 and what seems is going to go into the next couple of episodes.
I just wouldn't fight with Dolores, to be honest.
You don't fight with Patterson, Dolores.
Like, I understand that like Jennifer is like the most stubborn person in the world. And I gotta tell you, I'm stubborn. Like, I'm a stubborn human being. Jennifer Aiden is like next level. And like, I just like, I can't even relate to that. And like, I'm hoping all my siblings are watching. So they're probably like, stubborn shit right there, but they're all stubborn too. So, but like, I watch her and I'm just like, I could never imagine being like that. But then you have like, I would never fight with Dolores on any way, shape, or form because I feel like she speaks her truth. So there's really nothing to fight about. Yeah. She's also terrifying, even though now she's in like a loving relationship and kind of a little like softy, I feel. She's still terrifying. Like, she will literally rip your face off. Like, no, thank you. Like, I'm good.
I'll actually jump like far ahead and then come back since we're on this topic. These were like my watch what happens live notes. And at the very end of the episode where you're seeing Jennifer and Dolores beef again, and that's like how the episode ends. I wrote, I don't care who is right or who is wrong. Dolores versus Jennifer, America will always be Team Dolores.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And then on Watch What Happens Live, of course, Dolores was the guest. So maybe like things were favored. But regardless, I think this is how the voting would have gone down. They also asked, whose side are you on, Dolores or Jen? 87% said they were on Dolores' side. And then also I noted at the end of the episode where Jennifer said that Dolores looked like an old handbag.
No, I hated that.
Well, maybe the most beautiful vintage handbag that would sell for $1 million freaking dollars, because we've said it. If I could look like any housewife, I would want to look like Dolores Catania. She is so effing beautiful.
She is beautiful. And like, I know she's gotten work done, but she is honestly. So I must say though, the opening scene with her and Frank Sr. when they're eating whatever, can we talk about how massive Dolores's ass is in the pantry?
It's so big. It's a little much. It's a little much.
She turned around and I literally just out loud was like, oh.
Yeah, it's a little much. It's a little much.
Like, oh my God.
Beautiful, honestly.
She is.
Okay, so now we have Rachel. We met Rachel and how she's clued into the group. She's friends with Melissa because they're best friends. I mean, their sons are best friends. Okay. So Gino, Melissa's oldest, who I believe is in high school now. I want to say he's like 14 years old. Their sons are best friends.
She's my age.
Rachel was born in 1991. Caitlin, that would be like if you had a 14-year-old son right now.
And I got to say, this is no disrespect to this girl. Well, actually, it is disrespect, so I'm sorry. I also don't have children, so whatever. Right. That was my decision. I'm 31 and I don't have children right now. Thank God. She looks like she's 45 years old.
She doesn't look. No, she looks. You're right. Yeah.
When she said she was a 90s baby,
I couldn't believe it.
I had to like, because I was born in 91. So there is no, she's either in 90 and then she said I was 91. I was like, ugh. I was born in 1991. So she could be actually 32. So I'm old for my age. So she could be 32 years old. But still, that's 1 year. I will be 32 in November. She does not look like, she looks like she's 45 and maybe kids of 14 years have fucking
That's
aged
insane.
her. But like, no.
We have been doing this show for 5 years, and we have officially reached the moment where I am older than one of the housewives, and Caitlin is the same age as one.
No, so someone actually, then I did my research on the Twitter because I stayed off Twitter last night because I didn't want any spoilers.
Yeah.
And it was an uproar, and it is this girl is making history. She is the first 90s girl, or she's the first 90s housewife, which is insane. So like it does like make me like want to curl over and die, but I also feel great about myself because I do not look like I'm 45 years old.
Yeah.
I could probably pass for under 30. I take very much pride in that. I have a great skincare routine, so I could definitely pass for like, I'll give myself like 28. I won't go any lower than that. But I could definitely pass for like under 30, which is awesome. But it also gives me like, I could be on Housewives. Like maybe now Bravo should come after us at this point. Like, hello, we're perfect for the show. Like, let's go.
So Rachel also has a connection to Dolores. Dolores knows Rachel from years back because this is going to tie many webs together. Rachel and Frank's girlfriend, Brittany, they used to train together in fitness competitions, and Frank was their trainer.
Yes.
So that's how Frank knows them. That's how Dolores knows them. Rachel is also half Jewish and half Italian, and 100% seems annoying. So I don't know if I don't know if I like either one of these ladies. That's my initial vibes.
I don't.
Teresa invited Margaret over to talk and make up, which I thought was a nice peace offering.
I did.
You know, it started off like, oh, this is just your regular old Teresa about to, like, she just kept talking over her, which I watched the reunion, like the reunion played right before the premiere last night. So I watched like the end half of it. And that was when Andy his head almost exploded. And he was like, shut up, because Teresa wouldn't stop talking over everybody. And it was happening again. Louis literally called her out on it and was like, you're talking over me. You're talking over her. Like, just please stop. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Teresa's now seeing a therapist. And she says that's thanks to Louis. And I put in big capital letters, thank God. And that's not a knock. Like, I believe in therapy. I think it's good. And I think if someone needs to be in it, I think Teresa is a great candidate. So hopefully that's going to pay off and we see a little bit more of a zen Teresa.
Well, I must say, so here's my issue with this conversation and with what happened later. So I knew it was going to happen, and I have PTSD from this. So they got together and they were talking, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't trust Margaret. I don't really trust Teresa either.
She went back and told Melissa and Joe everything.
Because Katie, I gotta tell you, something happened to me in the 3rd grade when I had a group of friends, and it was the week where you picked someone not to like, and it happened all the time. And I was the person. And then I ended up talking. My mom and her mom got us together, and they were like, talk it out, whatever. And I did. And the girl was like, yes, of course. Like, I forget we're friends, whatever. The next day at school, she went back to the other girls and she was like, no, F that. I was lying to her. Katie. This happened in 3rd grade. And I was
like, story?
I don't know. Because it happened in 3rd grade. Like, I don't know. Like,
tell me whose ass I got to kick right now.
I'm not going to put any names on blast because they're probably like these
people. You know who you are.
These people are 31 years old right now. They're probably like, oh my God, I don't even remember doing that. But I remember. I've had anxiety since I was in like 3rd grade. So no, people don't regret it, of course. So as soon as I was watching this, I was like, you know what? I was like, I give Teresa credit for being like, let's come together, kumbaya. I go, but I do not trust either of these ladies because they're going to use this conversation as fuel. So later in the episode, yes, Margaret does go to Melissa and Joe and be like, oh, I sat down with Teresa and it was cool. Like, she was like, it was cool in the beginning. Then she was like, threw them both under the bus for shit they said about them. And I got to tell you, I don't think Louis really said anything wrong about Melissa. So I think that was a bold-faced lie right there. Just saying.
I mean, it wasn't a complimentary statement.
It wasn't fully exaggerated like Margaret said, though. So, and that's why I do not trust her.
Listen, I completely agree with you. I think that part of Margaret leaving that conversation in a good place with Teresa is she should have just left it at what they talked about in regards to just the two of them.
Just
and
shut
I think
up.
that was a really super quick way. If that gets back to Teresa, that's going to be a super quick
It's
way
going to
go back to where you were. And that wasn't the whole point of the conversation.
It's going to. So that was I did not like that.
I wrote, I'm obsessed with this calendar shoot. So
love it. These men are steamy. They are oiled up.
Thank God for the men.
I love it. I think each theme they had was perfect to all of them.
Yeah. So this was a calendar shoot that Dolores had this great idea for her charity softball game to sell calendars, like you would do like a sexy fireman calendar.
Ooh, can we buy them?
Oh yeah, no, I think they did legitimately sell them. I don't know if we can still.
Oh, I'm gonna look.
But she had this great idea of doing all the housewives' husbands and each of them doing a calendar shoot and having like a funny little pose and stuff like that. So I was living for it. I think it was like perfect for episode 1, and it just reminds you like this is a fun group. Like you are gonna have moments where you're just laughing and like enjoying how ridiculous they are. And funny enough, on Watch What Happens Live, they did a poll with all of the guys that were in this calendar, and they said like, who are you digging the most? Like, who do you think? And hats off to Evan Goldschneider.
He was hot.
The strong majority out of the hubby.
Yeah.
So hats off to him.
I found it, Katie. It's on studio4threads.com /product/NJ-husbands- M- husbands 2023. It is $30.
We got to get it.
Of course we do. This is like the best thing ever.
I noted that we finally meet Paulie, who is Dolores' new boyfriend. I remember our only impression of him really was just like what we saw that he looked like on social media. And I remember thinking like he looked really douchey. And so I felt very skeptical about it. But we've only seen very little of him in episode 1.
Right.
But I kind of feel like I'm just going to be wrong. Like I feel like he seems like a guy who like really loves Dolores. Dolores seems really happy. So I'm rooting for her and I really hope that works out well.
Yeah.
I wrote the noses are bad. So I noted that I thought
like people's nose jobs.
Yes.
Oh, her nose job sucks.
I've noted that obviously Jennifer Aiden had a nose job. I thought hers looked really bad in episode 1 last night. Melissa, I know, had a nose job like many, many moons ago. I don't know what it was about the episode last night. Her nose looked terrible. And then Rachel, who is new, her nose is god awful. Like that's 100% a nose job that just looks, it's like not even like a real nose. It's just like that tiny little, no even bone or cartilage or anything.
Another thing, 31. Look good. No work.
So I noted that I thought the noses looked bad.
And I have a big nose. I can get it done, but I do not.
Nose.
It's all I do too. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that honker. I've always had a big nose, but nothing done there. So
that's where I ended off, that the noses were bad. And then I made the comment about America will always be Team Dolores over Jennifer.
Yeah. I think I honestly was thinking all the same things. I think a couple other thoughts I had were, I did make the comment of the roller skating, too dangerous. Don't do that.
Oh, I love it. I'll do it. I thought
it was cute. Did you know that rink is in Staten Island though? I Googled it. Why the fuck did they go and how do you get all those people to travel out? What the hell?
They had to have taken the Sprinter van.
They had to have. I Googled it right away because I was like, maybe we could go there.
How did you get to Staten Island?
I Googled it right away, the place, and it's in Staten Island. So whatever. My other thought too was, Katie, we need to have more theme parties. I think those let's do more theme parties, definitely. So let's totally do that. Okay. I also too thought it was so weird when Joe got like pissy at Louis for not dressing up. That is such a femme thing to do. Like,
well, Joe at this point is just looking for anything to be like, did you see that dressed up for my party? Like,
so annoying.
She didn't even say hi to me. Like, he is noticing like every little thing and bringing it to light.
Like, no offense, if my boyfriend or husband was like that, I'd be like, babe, calm the fuck down. Like, relax. Like, Really? Like,
Yeah, there was like 50 million other people there. They were all dressed up. Like him,
yeah.
like not dressing up, it doesn't ruin anything. Like just yeah.
And talk about like other people there. Like they were like filming some people, and I was like, who the hell are all these people? Like, I don't know. Like, that's again weird. I thought it was just gonna be like a close-knit people. No, there was like 50.
You know, they had like their actual friends there too.
Yeah, I guess.
Friends.
And then the other thing I was thinking about too was I was so confused on the timeline because Teresa is setting up for her 50th birthday, which also good for her. You look great for 50 years old.
Right.
And I thought it was going to be on the same night. I was like, oh, they're throwing that part. It just like, it really was really confusing to me until they did it separately. Because why the hell did Teresa go over the top with those goddamn balloons, all the decorations for like 9 people to have dinner at her house?
It was literally just a family sit down dinner.
And for her daughters and now son
like
to buy her.
Louis was in like a basketball t-shirt and shorts and just like grilling over the fucking.
And there was like balloon decor in their house. Like I thought they were having that's why I was so confused. And I was like, wait, there's 9 people here. You guys are grilling. And then your daughters and new son give you 2 things from Tiffany. Katie, I expect my next birthday to be just like that. So you better start playing.
Okay.
You better get together with my.
She did have her trip. She said to Tulum, and then this skating
So
party.
what is this?
After the skating, I that was just maybe because I don't know. Maybe like if she went with just friends to Mexico, and then
it's just like a lot for like a family dinner party.
Like, I don't know. I could see myself turning 50 and be like, I'm gonna go grab like my closest like tight knit friends and like go somewhere, and then when I come back, like I'll do something where I celebrate with family. Like,
oh, of course. I just thought it was like I thought there was going to be like 50 people at her house. I swear.
Yeah, I know. That's what it looked like it was shaping up to be, but no.
It was odd. So, but holy guacs, it was definitely a good first episode. I definitely have some inklings that I'm going to be very annoyed this season, and that gets me very nervous because when I'm getting annoyed with the housewives, I want to turn it off, and I'm stressed, and I'm like, I shouldn't be dealing with stress over a stupid reality show. So I'm hoping that it's good though. I did not see, so I recorded it. And then it went right into Watch What Happens Live, my recording. So I got to see like that first 5 minutes. So I did not see, did you get like a preview for the rest of the season?
No.
I did not. So I'm waiting. So they'll probably do that next episode. They'll do like, here's to come. Remember they do like, here's to come for the rest
of. Like, I mean, obviously we got the trailer, which was a pretty lengthy trailer.
Right.
Which showed a lot. So the next big thing we might get is a mid-season. Here's what's still to come, like on Real Housewives of New Jersey. So.
Right. Yeah. So, but overall good. So
yeah,
we'll obviously have to talk about the Super Bowl next week, but we can give you some deets on episode 2 as well.
Yeah, definitely. But let's get into the big game. Let's get into Super Bowl. Let's dive deep into it. We've been doing this all playoff long. You know, we are going to take a look at this Super Bowl matchup for the weekend, and we are going to fill in the blanks for some game time predictions. We already told you we are both taking the Philadelphia Eagles to win. Yeah. But now we're going to kind of give some reasoning and background and other predictions as well. So we've got the number 1 Philadelphia Eagles versus the number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles will win if blank.
I think it needs to be an entire team effort. If you peel back the layers on both teams, offense, defense, everything, I think the Eagles are the most talented up and down the field. They have more names. They have more, stats combined, everything like that. If like one thing breaks and maybe it's just their offense performing well or just their defense, I don't know if that will fully, before I spoke about being a realistic team. If they don't perform up and down, an unrealistic Kansas City like Houdini thing could come out and take over. So I really think they need to be on point both offensively and defensively. And special teams, sure. Throw that in there.
Yeah, of course. I put the Eagles will win if they get chunk plays through the air and also get Mahomes on the ground. So I put that it's no secret that Philadelphia has a great run game, but Jalen Hurts will have to pick up some big passing yards to match Patrick Mahomes. And then 2 years ago, Tampa Bay was able to beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl by getting after Mahomes and slowing him down. That's really any team's key to success against him. I did put a side note that if at any point in the game Philadelphia's pass rush hits Mahomes and he re-aggravates that ankle, I think it's going to be game over.
Yeah, that's something that's
the sad little stat line there. My sad thought there that if that happens at any moment, like I don't think they can come back.
We got some clappies on the YouTube from our big friend El Jefe from New York Revival. So
what up, El Jefe?
Let's go. Clappy claps.
The Chiefs will win if blank.
All right. So I am going to say that their defense can stop the run, but in two parts. Jalen Hurts running the ball and their actual running backs running the ball. So
okay. Yep. Great. Like I just said, great run game for Philadelphia. That's really what has, led them to a lot of success this season. I'm going to say that the Chiefs will win if Mahomes has time to throw. So obviously it is no goddamn secret. Everybody knows it. Philadelphia has the best pass rush in the league, but the Kansas City O-line isn't that bad. So if they can hang on and give Patrick Mahomes time, I do believe that he's capable of picking apart that Philadelphia secondary.
And with the ankle injury, he wants to launch it down the field. Mm-hmm. He's going to run because that's who Patrick Mahomes is. But if we're a quarter in and he's feeling a little weak, he's got to launch. You could give him time don't make him run around like a crazy person.
I think too, it's like easy to slap this general label like onto Philadelphia and just say they have an amazing defense because of what their pass rush has done this season. But really, like there is a weakness to their defense, and it is the secondary. So if you're able to stop that pass rush and give Patrick Mahomes time to throw it, like I said, he could pick it apart. So, all right, the quarterback with the most passing yards will be blank.
I just really like this quarterback's weapons more than the other one. So I'm going with Jalen Hurts here. I think Patrick Mahomes has a weapon in Travis Kelce, and I just think Jalen's got way more across the board.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I agree with you weapons-wise, but Jalen Hurts has yet to throw over 200 passing yards in the playoffs so far. So that's, Patrick Mahomes is throwing for more than that. So I'm going Patrick Mahomes. The running back with the most rushing yards will be blank.
Well, I think it's going to be a big game for this kid because I'm not going with a running back. I'm going with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback with the most rushing on the field. So, and that was my thing with Kansas City. You have to stop the run, and it's not just running backs. Jalen Hurts, much like Daniel Jones we saw this season, they've got legs and they can move it. And the thing with the comparison, because obviously we're close to Daniel Jones and watching him, he's just like he's very strong and muscular and tall, but he's very length and just runs and kind of like his long legs kind of like go out there and then he runs out of bounds. Jalen Hurts is almost like a tight end. He runs, Katie, up to people and he takes them down and he's not stopping. He's a terrifying running quarterback, in my opinion, because he's very strong and he's not trying to look to go out of bounds. He's trying to run up that field. So I think he could be the rusher this season, this game, and he could be the passer too. So I'm not going to go with a running back here. I'm going with Jalen Hurts.
All right. My non-running back with the most rushing yards will be Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. I'm there. I can see that happening. All right, the wide receiver with the most receiving yards will be blank.
Well, I'm not going with a wide receiver here. I am going with a tight end, and I'm going to go with Travis Kelce.
Girl, I'm with you tonight. I'm going Travis Kelce too. So yes, a non-wide receiver will have the most receiving yards. A non-running back will have the most rushing yards. We have some extra bonus questions here for you that we didn't do in the other playoff games, but this is the big game. This is the Super Bowl. So we want a couple more predictions in here. The most impressive defensive player of the game will be blank.
It's probably the biggest threat to Patrick Mahomes this game. I'm going with Hassan Reddick here. So, and I love that we're calling out the defensive players because you're right. It's the big game. We gotta do it all around here.
I mean, I think this guy was the MVP of that San Francisco game. It's Hassan Reddick. Like, and yes, he could definitely have a big monster game.
Right.
All right. The MVP of the game will be blank.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious from my answer so far because I've named him in many categories up to this point. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. If they can pull this off and he can do everything that I just listed, it will be him. If obviously the details are different, it could be someone else. So, but with everything I just mapped out, it's got to be him.
I do think Jalen Hurts is going to be the top rusher of the game. However, we have yet to see Jalen Hurts have sexy stats in the playoffs. I don't think anything is going to be like super glaring and like, oh my God, like he had a phenomenal game. Like, let's give it to him. That's the easy choice. I'm going to go with who I really think is going to be the difference maker for this team. I'm going defense, baby. I'm going with Hassan Reddick as the MVP.
Yeah, and listen, I would not love the Eagles to win. I would not love Hassan Reddick to get the MVP, but I would love the defensive position to get the MVP.
Yeah.
We've been screaming that from the rooftops for so long. I
think what he's going to do is going to be glaring enough.
He's a problem.
To be like, wow, like he really was like the top like difference maker in this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, the team that will score first will be blank.
This is as easy as whoever wins the coin toss and gets the ball first, or wins you could defer. Whoever gets the ball first, because we've seen both teams are so talented, Katie, with bringing the ball up the field on their first drive and scoring. I couldn't even pick a team. It's whoever gets the ball first.
Flip a coin, literally. But I'm gonna go with Philly. I'm going to say Philadelphia. They get off to really hot starts, and so does Kansas City. But I feel like this is maybe a gut thing. I'm going with Philly.
They're just like, I would just put money on just it, even if they weren't playing each other, they're going to score in their first possession. Yeah. So it's literally who's handed the ball first.
Yep. The team that causes the most turnovers will be blank.
I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one. Patrick Mahomes is higher than Jalen Hurts with 12 turnovers. And then we do have Hassan Reddick with, he's leading in forced fumbles in the season. So it's just like all signs are really pointing to the Eagles defense here.
Philadelphia. If Hassan Reddick is going to be my MVP, it's because he is getting after Patrick Mahomes and he's making a game-changing play. All right. The halftime score will be blank.
I'm going with 17-10 Eagles.
I'm going 17-14.
Okay.
And the final score of the game will be blank.
We've got some nice scores in the second half for me. So I'm going to go with 30-27 Eagles.
Okay. I'm also going close, but I'm going a 4-point difference. I'm going with 28-24 Philadelphia.
All right.
And I will leave you guys with one final fun fact. We talked about how unbelievably tough this game was to pick for everybody across the board. This might be one of the most evenly matched Super Bowls we've seen in a very, very, very long time. So just to put that into perspective, both of these teams are 16-3. Both have scored 546 points on the season. Both had 6 All-Pros this season, including a Kelsey brother and including their quarterbacks. Both were number 1 seeds, and Philly was the NFC's leader in points scored and sacks, and Kansas City was the AFC's leader in points scored and sacks. So I think we're in for a good game. Yeah. I know we keep joking we hope it's a blowout. We hope Chiefs just kill them. I think we're going to see a close and our scores predict that. Our scores show that. I think this is going to be a good game for America to be watching a good Super Bowl football game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's all we ever ask for.
I'm asking for something different, but I think if you don't if you don't really care either way, then yes, you do just want to see a good game. And
it could be a good game, but then the Chiefs win. That's fine. It's not, but if it's a blowout by halftime and I know not to turn the TV off anymore these days, but All right. All right. It's that time of the episode where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, Super Bowl coming to the end of the NFL season. Katie, what do you got for us?
I'll go super quick. Just in the sports world in general, last night, LeBron James broke the record, the NBA scoring title, a record that stood for 40 years. He beat Kareem's record, and it's pretty insane when you think about it. LeBron was drafted in 2003. He's been in the NBA for 20 years. And I was kind of saying to Caitlin, like before the show, watching it last night, you do, whether you watch NBA or not, like when you see something like that, you really do have to like watch it and take notice of it, because it puts into perspective. I mean, this was a record that stood for 40 years. I don't know if we'll see that broken in our lifetime. Like now that LeBron has this, I don't know if we'll ever see it in our lifetime get broken. And it kind of put things into perspective for me of like with Tom Brady retiring as well. Are there going to be greats after this? Is there really truly going to be somebody at the quarterback position that will be better than Tom Brady? Is there ever going to, like, I'm not calling LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time, but is there ever going to, from right now, is there ever going to be somebody that's going to pass what LeBron has done? And the answer, I think, is let's look at football. I think the answer is no.
Right.
I think people can beat Tom Brady's stats as far as maybe most touchdowns thrown, most passing yards, things like that. I don't know if anyone will beat the most important one, which is the amount of rings, that Super Bowls that he's won, the amount of rings that he has. And really, at the end of the day, I think that's what counts. And I said to Caitlin before the show, like, before Tom Brady won all of the stat categories, those were held by like pretty much Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. But we're not going to call Drew Brees or Peyton Manning the greatest of all time because, Peyton won 2 rings and Drew Brees won 1. And at the end of the day, like that really plays a huge distinctive factor in how we regard Tom Brady and how we regard those two guys. So lead all the major stat categories. Those are individual records. And of course, you got to acknowledge them and they're great. But you got to sit and think, like, I don't know if we're going to see another Tom Brady. I really, really don't. Patrick Mahomes maybe could get off to a good start if he gets a Super Bowl ring this weekend. He'll have 2.
Yeah, he'll have 2.
He'll have a very long career, but it's hard to get to the big game, and then it's hard to win it. So we'll see. But like I said, it just puts it all into like a crazy, crazy perspective that, like if in another 40 years, nobody like breaks this record again that LeBron now holds, like who's to say we're here to see it? Like it's crazy, but
might not be here, but
sports are wild.
They are. And honestly, I must say, like, I think I'm okay if there's not one person that just rides it out for the rest of our time watching football. I like right now that we have a young crew of quarterbacks that are doing wild things, and we've got some studs, coming up that just entered their first year that are coming into the draft. And I don't want someone to run away with 6, 7, 8 Super Bowl. Like, I'm cool with divvying it up. Like, I want some diversity. If it's the Giants taking like 8 of them, cool. Like, let's keep running with that forever. But like, it's not realistic. And I kind of want to see that talent dispersed amongst people. So I know it's kind of scary to think that we might not see it again in our lifetime, but I think
you're good with that.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing talent.
That's also too, though, like why, like some people hate Tom Brady, and I've never really I haven't personally understood it. I've never hated him. Maybe I'd hate him if he beat the Giants in those 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
Then I would understand. But I just feel like the way I've always looked at Tom Brady is I've like taken a step back and been like, I'm witnessing greatness, and I appreciate and respect what you have done in your career because I might not ever see it again. So I respect what you have done.
Yeah, I respect what he's done football wise. I just think he's a loser off the field. But that's another story for another day. Yeah, no, totally get it for sure. But yeah, so I totally had to get it off my chest, and I'm going to switch it because you
Okay.
totally reminded me of something else that I've been thinking about for the last like week or two, which I think is super cool. You had mentioned obviously the Kelsey brothers. I think it's obviously the coolest thing that they are facing each other in the Super Bowl. I think this might be some sort of like history making thing.
It is the first time.
Yeah. So, because if you think about it, there are so many family members in the Super Bowl right now. We've got cousins, we've got brothers, but they're in the NFC, they're in the AFC. They might see each other. Some of them might be on the same team, things like that. So some of these guys, like sometimes might not even like they've never seen each other before, things like that. So not only is your family just insanely talented athletic wise, you are now seeing, and it's a family affair. So you're seeing your sons face off in a Super Bowl. Like, how the hell their parents can go out and brag that? You're seeing your nephews do it. They're seeing, so Jason Kelsey obviously has kids. They're now seeing their dad and their uncle face off against each other. So like, again, it's a family affair. Like their friends are coming in. Like, I just think this is like probably the coolest aspect of this weekend. So, like again, we've seen relatives in the football world come and go, but to actually go up against each other on the biggest stage on the final game of the season and literally all like, and they play two different positions too. So like they're going to be he's going to be highlighted, Travis, and then Jason's going to be highlighted. So it's not even like, I mean, I think it'd be cooler if they were up against each other, but like, I just think this is really insanely cool. Like you could come from a family of athletes, but to like actually to say that like you've competed like with your sibling, against your sibling, maybe against a cousin or things like that. Like I know we were talking about before the show, we were talking about Frank Gore. Like his son was coming up right when Frank Gore like retired. Like that's cool. Like that is cool.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The great thing about this too is like these are not like no name guys. Like not only did your two sons make it to the NFL, they're two of the best, if not the best, at their position. They're both all pros this year. They're both playing in the Super Bowl against each other.
Right.
Like it's amazing. I know we just saw Steph Diggs and Trey Diggs go against each other like in the Pro Bowl, and they were doing some things, you know, and that was cool to see too. Two others who are, you know, at the top at their position. So yeah, to say that one of your kids has made it to the NFL and they're living their dream, you got two, and they're doing it at the highest level. So, I mean, this has got to be a dream come true for the Kelsey family, minus the fact that at the end of the day, one of their sons will have to lose. But it's still a very, very, very special thing for their family. And really cool to see.
I think it's super cool. And I did see probably the funniest video last weekend. Well, it was obviously the championship weekend. And Jason Kelsey was watching the final game and he was in a Travis Kelsey jersey. And as soon as the Chiefs won, he ripped it off and he was wearing his Eagles shirt.
Now we're done. Now I'm done rooting for you.
I thought that was really fun. But yeah, so talk about sibling rivalries, things like that. You're now taking it to the AFC, NFC rivalry. And I think it's one of the coolest aspects of this weekend. And that's going to be something that I'm going to be honed in on all game. So,
All right. Well, that was our big bad Super Bowl preview, our New Jersey recap. Like, what an episode. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. Things you do not want to miss this week. Please note that there, of course, is no Real Housewives of Potomac on Sunday because of the Super Bowl. But we do have Real Housewives of New Jersey. That is, you know, this is a staple now on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. The NFL honors are on tomorrow at 9 p.m. on NBC. We gave you guys our picks for those awards last week. We also posted them on our social media pages who we think is going to win. Looking forward to actually watching that this year because we've got some ponies in the race there. So good luck to, you know, potentially Saquon, potentially Brian Dable. You know, we'll be rooting for you. And then, of course, we have Super Bowl 57. That is going to be on Sunday at 6:30. Everybody
Too
enjoy
late.
the game. Have fun. If you are going out somewhere, you're going to be drinking, be safe,
Be
call
safe.
an Uber, no drinking and driving, and enjoy it. Let's go, Chiefs. Hopefully you see us next week.
Chiefs
And
Kingdom.
congratulations, Kansas City. Hopefully we are both wrong with our picks.
Yep.
But we'll see. We're closing in on another NFL season and happy to do it with you guys and just, enjoy them. We'll catch you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Let's go Chiefs.
Good night. Go Chiefs.
Good night.